We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying the Taittriya Upanishad, the second chapter. We have finished the first chapter. We are coming towards the end of the second chapter. And then we will go on to the third one. The first chapter is the preparation of the mind. It gives us several values to be followed in life and some meditations. Upasana. So Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, Sadgunas, these are the three topics in the first chapter. The second chapter is the main essence of Taittriya Upanishad. The whole teaching is in this second chapter. When we come to the study of Upanishads, we should be clear as to what we are studying and what it is all about. Shankaracharya, in his commentary on Mandukya Upanishad, a very profound Upanishad, he says that all of us are suffering from a disease. That disease is called as self-ignorance. We don't know about our real self. We think this body is me. We think this mind is me. The body and mind together constitute the 5 koshas, the 5 layers of our real nature. The gross body is called as Annamaya Kosha, born out of food. Then comes the subtle body. Subtle body consists of Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya. 3 koshas. Kosha means sheath, a covering. What is it covering? It is covering Atma. So 1 plus 3, 4 koshas we have seen between gross body and subtle body. The third body we all possess is called as causal body. The causal body is Anandamaya Kosha. It is also a covering. The 3 states of consciousness of the mind, primarily the waking state, we take it as our real nature, which is all the 3 bodies put together, and it becomes the greatest covering. So the waking state is the biggest problem for us. The dream state is subtle body. We experience our subtle body, which is mind's projections. And the sleep state is causal body. So I have covered three states. I have covered three bodies. I have covered five koshas. What Shankaracharya says is all this is not me. If this is not me, what is me? I consider the factors which I have mentioned now as my real nature. That is the disease called samsara or sorrow. And this disease can be removed only in one way. What is the medicine for this disease? The medicine is Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya removes the ill health called as self-ignorance. It does not produce Atma. Atma is always existing. Only the covering is removed, and all our effort in the classes is only to remove the covering. Dukkha Nivriti. Dukkha Nivriti means getting rid of sorrow. What is the medicine? Brahma Vidya. I must know the essence behind this body, the essence behind the whole creation. And then I have to equate the essence behind the body and the essence behind the creation as one non-dual entity. I'm going step by step. Try to follow the logic. I have said what is the disease. I have said how to remove the disease. I've told you the disease is ignorance about my real nature. The Brahma Vidya is the medicine which we learn in all the Upanishads. All the 12 Upanishads which we are planned to study. We have finished Kaivalya, we have finished Mundaka, we have finished Keno. 3 Upanishads we have finished out of 12. We're doing the 4th Upanishad. In all these Upanishads, the goal is the same. To remove sorrow from our life. Dukkha Nivriti. Elimination of sorrow, elimination of rebirth. Can knowledge avoid rebirth in the future? Yes. That is a special topic we'll discuss later. In other Upanishad, this is discussed in detail. The next point we should understand is what is this sorrow and why study of Upanishads cures that sorrow. According to Vedanta, all Dvaita experiences where I experience the subject I, which is the body and mind, and the object, which is the world, according to Vedanta, according to Upanishads, this experience is mithya. It is appearance. What is Satyam? Satyam is Advaitam, non-duality. Is there something called as non-duality? Can I experience that? Shankaracharya says yes. The whole purpose of the Upanishadic study is to help you get a subtle mind, a prepared mind to listen to the Upanishadic words. The Upanishadic words produce jnanam. That jnanam has the power to remove the self-ignorance. What happens when the ignorance goes away? Swa swastha swarupaha. Abidance in my real self. Swastaha means natural self. What does the medicine or the doctor do? They only remove the roga, the disease. They don't give you the ill health, they don't give you the natural health. Good health is your natural condition. Good health in the mind is the natural condition of the mind in which it is attached to Advaita Swarupa Sakshi. Sakshi means my real nature. This body and mind is an object of Sakshi. The nature of Sakshi is Chaitanya, consciousness. That is my natural self. If that is my natural self, the Panchakoshas, the three avasthas, the three bodies are not my real self. Do I experience the real self? Can you tell me how to realize that pure self of mine? In Prashna Upanishad and in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Upanishad teaches me, in the Jagrata Avastha, you think about your sleep state. Ask the question, was I existing in sleep? Ask the question in your own mind. Yes, I was there. Is that your real self? Yes, that is your real self. Is that without an upadhi, a medium called as the body and mind? Yes, it is without the medium called the body and mind. Is it nirguna avastha without any gunas of sattva, rajas and tamas? Yes, it is nirguna avastha without sattva, rajas and tamas. What is this waking state which I think is my real nature? It is with gunas, saguna. It is with the medium of 5 koshas. It is with the medium of the mind which is having the 3 states. So the real nature of mind, the natural state of mind is blissful. ever at peace, ever free from the body and mind. Nitya Mukta Shuddha Swarupa. That is my natural self. If that is my natural self, and if I am now in the waking state, taking my body and mind, predominantly my mind as myself, that needs a correction. A mistaken notion must be corrected. That correction is what we are doing in all the Upanishads. So this disease is removed and the natural health of a jiva is established. Swarupa avastha is established. Nija Swarupa is established. The more my mind is able to understand the five koshas, one by one, in your own mind, in the seat of contemplation, you should remove the Annamaya kosha, the food gross body, which is visible. Then you should remove the subtle body as not me. Then you remove the causal body, which is ignorance. I don't know myself is the causal body. Remove that. This process of removing intellectually is called as Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana. I am Atma is a Lakshyartha. Lakshyartha means an indicative meaning. I am Atma. That is the goal. I am Anatma is what I have to drop. The three bodies, the five koshas, the three avasthas. You must have the faith in the scriptures first, that there is something called as Nirguna Atma. If you don't have the faith, you cannot reach the goal. Suppose you don't think there is a country called as America or Singapore and you're traveling. It may be there, it may not be there. Suppose you go like that, then you will never reach the destination. But if you go with the faith, yes, there is Atma. The Upanishad is guiding me. I will follow the instructions of the Upanishads. Understand the Upanishads clearly. Clearly understand. Very important in Vedanta is Samyak Jnana. This does not come in the first time when you're listening to the Veda. It does not come to many seekers. Repeated listening of the scriptures helps you to remove the roga, the disease called as self-ignorance. With that, we'll go back to our study. So that was a very beautiful introduction, which I just summarized. Whatever I have said is said by Shankaracharya in his commentary, Introduction Bhashyam of Mandukya Upanishad. It's amazing commentary. The more you listen and understand Shankaracharya's commentary on each of these Upanishads, the deeper your mind will go and take a peep at that Atma. Oh, this is Atma. Of course, yes. Yes, yes, I understand. Again, go back to the Atma. Again, study. Again, have appeal. The more you keep studying, the more your intellect will keep looking at that Atma. Initially, it will just have a glance. Oh, this is Atma. Then the intellect will say, no, no, this cannot be. My body is so real. My mind is so powerful and is so real. The world is so useful to me. Is it just an appearance like the dream? Yes. But how? That is what is the obstacle. The mind doesn't have the power to absorb this knowledge as the truth. To give that mind a gross mind to make it subtle is the job of the Upanishads. That is the job of an Acharya. Through the study of the Upanishad, the teacher is trying to explain to us that there is something which your gross mind cannot see, but your subtle mind one day will be able to see that truth. Whenever that happens to you, you will just join your hands in gratitude to the Upanishad. It will come naturally to you and say, I am truly blessed to receive this knowledge, and I can declare to myself, not to anybody else. It is only a self acknowledgement that I am that pure Atma. And with this study of Upanishads, I can get the strength to remain or abide in my Swarupam all the time in my life, which is Advaita Swarupam. Normally, the problems are there in Dvaitam. Whenever my mind forgets that Atma is my real nature, I am in ignorance. The entire life of a person is led in ignorance, solid ignorance about our nature. When I say that the body is getting old, instead of saying body is getting old, what do I say? I am getting old. This statement, I am getting old, is made because of adhyasa, superimposition of the real on the unreal. Unreal body, I am taking it as real, and I am superimposing it on the real Atma. All this will be clear to you if your mind is ready for the knowledge today. If it is not ready, doesn't matter. Keep listening. Let this whole 20-minute talk which I have given to you, repeatedly listen to this 20 minutes. A day will come, you will realize each and every word I have said is the truth. And that day is called as moksha. Moksha means freedom from my wrong notion which I have gathered in every birth of the body. Now, with the help of Taittriya Upanishad and Shankaracharya's commentary, I am able to understand Atma in the way Shankaracharya has explained to us, and I am free. Last week, we stopped in this slide. This slide we covered last week, the 34th slide, where we said that the jnani does not go into sorrow. Why doesn't he go into sorrow? He doesn't go into sorrow because he knows his swarupam as nirguna swarupa. Nirguna swarupa means what? Without the three bodies, without the five koshas. So therefore, the Upanishads say that only a jnani who has studied Brahma Vidya can be free in life. He has no fear in life. That jnani cannot be described by words, because words can be used only in the realm of transactions. Yato vacho nivartante. Yato vacho nivartante. Means what? Words are returning from Atma without reaching Atma. Why? Because it is Advaita Swarupaha, Nirguna Swarupaha. And that is pure Ananda. Blissful. There is only one Ananda where you can talk about bliss. It cannot be compared. There is no Ananda of Atma which can be compared with the happiness which you get in the world. The happiness which you can enjoy in the world in the waking and the happiness which you can enjoy in your sleep are graded. Taittriya Upanishad gives a grade for them. Do you remember the three words which are used to define the grade of happiness, which we discussed last week? Priya, Moda, Pramoda. Priya is when the object which I desire is somewhere very far away. My mind wants to reach that object. That is Priya. Moda means I go towards that object. I go towards the Himalayas. I go towards the ice cream. I go towards the garden where the flowers are. I want to have the flowers in my hand. So Moda is somewhere in between. I want to reach God. I have a photo of God in front of me. That is Moda. What is Pramoda? Pramoda means that sense of I has absorbed that object in itself. Ice cream is not outside, it is in my mouth and I'm experiencing the ice cream. The Lord I wanted to reach is now in my heart. I am with him. That is Pramoda. My son who was far away in America, he has reached London airport and now I am now with him in my house. Pramoda. So the gradation of happiness is possible in Vishaya Ananda. In the objective world, gradation is possible. What about Atma Ananda, Swarupa Ananda? Swarupa Ananda is not gradable. There is no comparison. Nirupama. Nirupama means there is no comparison. I cannot say there is one Atma and then there is a higher Atma and then somebody else has got that Jnani, that Swamiji has got a higher Atma and I have a lower Atma. No. Swamiji's Atma teacher's Atma, my daughter's Atma is the same. The only difference is he knows that Atma, I don't know that Atma. So Jnani will not have hurt and guilt. Hurt means it is a bhokta swarupa. I am feeling hurt. I feel that he has done this to me. He spoke to me very rudely today. He didn't even smile at me. This is what is called as hurt. It is a feeling. It is a vritti in the mind. What is guilt? Guilt is, I should have done this to my parents, taken care of them when they were old. But I left them and I came back to enjoy my own life. So you feel guilty. Guilt is connected with karta. Hurt is connected with bhokta. Ajnani jiva, in the whole life, he suffers from these two pendulums. I should have done this, I shouldn't have done this. One pendulum. Second pendulum, the other side, he did this to me, he shouldn't have done this to me. Can you try to remember how many times you have been sitting on this pendulum of hurt and guilt, hurt and guilt, hurt and guilt? Just analyze your own life. He did this to me. How many times I have said this about a friend, about my mother-in-law, about my daughter, about my son, about my teacher, about my guru. So many times. How many times it has come in your life? There are many people who have not pardoned somebody who has hurt them. As a seeker, I would like to inform you that if you want to be free, the best technique is drop this hurt and guilt. How? How can I do that? I'll give you a very simple technique. One day, sit down quietly, close your mind, close your eyes. Bring that person who has hurted you, mentally bring the picture of that person. And then deliberately you tell in your own mind, I am pardoning you. I am no longer going to think about this. Whatever you have done and whatever I have suffered is due to wrong knowledge about myself. I am now studying Vedanta. I am no longer going to remember this hurt or guilt in future. In your own mind, drop the hurt and drop the guilt. It can be two different instances. These people, they did this to me. I pardon them. Mentally repeat, I forgive them. I have not done this. I forgive myself because it was ignorance. So the hurt and guilt is a thought in the mind, and there is a way to remove it. And once you have removed it, then it is gone forever. This is one technique. But the real final technique, which the Veda teaches, is learn about your own nature. Swaswarupa, Nitya Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa Atma, which is Advaita Swarupa. try to remember the meaning of Advaitam, which I explained in the first 20 minutes of this talk today. Advaitam means I am there, the world is not there. Dvaitam means the world is there, I, the Atma, has been forgotten. Whenever my mind is focused on the world, Atma is forgotten. Whenever I am remembering that Atma, then the world is forgotten. Atma alone is. Atma, from Atma, this whole world manifests. Into the Atma, the whole world resolves. This is a fact happening in the world. If you want to know that Atma, you must acknowledge the truth of this fact, which is given to me by the Upanishads. These are the steps in which I have to go, holding the Shruti mother. She is taking me step by step. From one kosha to the second kosha, the Shruti mother is teaching me. Deliberately bring the kosha in your mind and say, I am not the gross body. Deliberately bring the mind and say, I am not this mind. To say I am not the mind is required. Then ultimately, what do you do? You remain or abide in your natural self, which is disease-free, ignorance-free. Jnani sees kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam as mithya. These are words which I'm explaining. I'm going a little slow today because I want you to understand what I am trying to reach. The goal I want each one of you to reach in your own mind, and that is your real self, which is without the medium, which is Advaita Sarupa. It exists. I only have to remove the covering by understanding the Upanishads clearly. Initially, you will find a lot of these words are very, very new. The concepts are new. Every seeker finds it very difficult to understand initially. But the moment you say, the truth is there, but I am not seeing it. The truth is there, but I am not seeing it. Then you are on the right path. Suppose you say there is no truth called as Atma, then you are out of the path. Then you are leaving. Again, you are falling back to samsara. Again, you are falling back to the disease. The only way to get rid of fear of death, I have repeated this many, many times. In Taittriya Upanishad, it clearly says, how does fear go away? The fear can only go when I know that I am Advaita Swarupa Atma. Everything else, the moment the second thing comes in creation as a real thing, then the fear comes. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, clearly it says, Dviti Atmai Bhayam Bhavati. Whenever there is duality, there is fear. Fear of losing. As Advaita Swarupa, I am fearless. I'm using these two words, Advaitam and Dvaitam. I slowly try to understand these two technical words. If you're not clear again, you can ask me. I will try to explain to you make you understand what is Dvaitam, what is Advaitam. In the second chapter, there are some aside topics. The sixth Anuvada, or the sixth major paragraph in the Upanishad, Asanneva Bhavati. What does this verse say? It says, if he knows Brahman is non-existent, that means God doesn't exist, then what happens? The Upanishad says he himself becomes non-existent. Suppose a person says Brahman is existence. Then what happens? Then the starting point is correct. I exist, and the world is an appearance. Existence and appearance, try to understand the difference. Existence is Satyam. Appearance is Mithya. That is the two Sanskrit words. Existence is reality. Appearance is unreal. Reflection in a mirror is unreal. Waking state is a reflection in the mind, is unreal. The original face, which is seeing the reflection, is real. Original Atma, which is of the nature of consciousness, which is experiencing the world, is real. Then there is another verse here which says, does the ignorant go to the ignorant leaving this world, does he go to Atma? Or does the knower leaving the world obtains that? Very beautiful question. See, what happens is, this is where I've said that Jnani attains knowledge, gets the Jnana. When he attains the Jnanam, what does the Jnanam, what does the knowledge says? Knowledge says you are ever free. Knowledge says you are never born. Knowledge says that you are never dying. You are deathless, you are birthless, you are ever free. This is the knowledge. So this is what I need to know about my real nature. So when I know that I am birthless and deathless and I am free, do I leave this world or do I just acknowledge my nature? You only acknowledge the nature, your own real nature. That is what this verse is saying. It is not that the ignorant man is going to drop one day the waking world and then walk towards the Atma. No. Atma is ever there. Atma is my natural self. Whenever I am outside my natural self is I in my green robe, without my vesham of the body, without my vesham of me taking on any roles in this world. Again, this is a word which is used by in Mandukya Upanishad. Vesham. Vesham means it is a costume. Shankaracharya says that my real Swarupa is Advaita Swarupa in my sleep state, where there is no world, there is no body, there is no mind, but I exist. But what happens to me in the waking state? He says, I put on the kanchukam, the dress called as the body. I put on the dress as the mind. The two layers. I put on a inner garment. I put on an outer garment. Inner garment is called as mind. Outer garment is called as the body. When I put on these garments, then I start interacting with the world. The outer garment is called as Annamaya Kosha. The inner garment is called as Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. With the help of this layer, what do? I come to enjoy the world. The world playing all the roles as a mother, as a father, as a teacher, as a rich person, as a poor person, as a mediocre, intelligent person. So many roles we have attached to ourselves. All these roles belongs to the body. It doesn't belong to the Atma. So this costume I remove. When do I remove? In the sleep state. In the sleep state, I remove this costume and I am with my own real self, which is what? Nirguna Swarupa. The body and mind, the moment I wear it, it is Saguna. Because body is made of three gunas, mind is made of three gunas. Chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita. You have to understand the technical nature of these chapters of Bhagavad Gita and also apply it to yourself. And this is the way of application. So when I remove the dress, I am in my natural state. Nirguna Swarupa, blissful Swarupa, Mukta Swarupa. I'm sure you're all understanding these words now. Because you have to go deep within yourself to realize this. I'm going very, very clearly, step by step, as taught by Shankaracharya. You see, these are all words of Shankaracharya. What I'm telling you is nothing but what he has spoken. Atma has not changed its Swarupa. Since Shankaracharya's time, since Vyasacharya's time, and today, Atma has remained the same. Atma will ever remain the same. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after 5 years, when I'm learning about this Atma, Atma has not changed. Because it is Nirguna Swarupa, Nirvikara Swarupa. Atma doesn't have modifications. Body grows from 1 feet, 2 feet, 5 feet. It grows. It grows in size, it grows in weight, it grows in height. Atma doesn't have a height or a weight. It remains the same throughout. So, that is what is said in the second chapter, 6th Anuvaka, the second verse. Then the third verse. So kamayata bahusyam praja prajayeti. So now the Upanishad is saying, how does that pure Atma fall into this samsara? That is being explained in this verse. It's a very, very important verse. I think I have taken this for analysis in our next session or something. In the future, when we do the Bhashyam, I think I'm going to do the analysis of this. But right now, the way you should understand this verse is, this pure self has got two conditions. One is manifest condition, another is unmanifest condition. Again, I go back to that dress example, Kanchukam and Kosha dress. When I put on the body and the mind and I am in the waking state, I am in a state of the body and mind, which is called as manifest condition. There is another condition with reference to Atma. With reference to body, you will not understand this. So shift your attention to Atma first. Assume that you are pure Atma and understand this verse. Then it is easy. If you're not understanding, again, you ask me, I'll explain to you again a second time. So from the Atma standpoint, there is an unmanifest condition, which is the sleep state. In the sleep state, there is no defined and undefined. There is no house and there is no houseless. There is no knowledge and there is no ignorance. There is no truth and there is no false. There is no role and there is no role play. What exists without all this is the real nature of the universe, which is called as Brahman, which is called as Sat Swarupa, pure existence without the word medium. I'm using the word medium or upadhi. Upadhi in Sanskrit also means it is an instrument for transaction. See, these technical words, whatever I'm using, you should listen to it carefully so that you think that you're using an instrument, but you are not the instrument. The user of an instrument is not the instrument. The user of a car, a driver of the car is using the car. He's not the car. So I am the Atma who is using this and I am experiencing the universe. That is this verse, Anuvaka 6. Anuvaka 7 tells us how this creation came about. The creation has come from that Sat Vastu. That pure consciousness, pure existence, that pure Sakshi itself is the raw material for this world. That is why you can say it comes from that Brahman, it goes back into Brahman. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mai sarvam pratishthitam, mai sarvam layam yati. Mai here means consciousness. That consciousness is extremely powerful. The power comes from the Maya Shakti. The Veda tells me that Brahman has got a Shakti which is called as Maya Shakti. That Shakti helps me to project this entire world for the living beings and who can grow and reach Brahman and say, Aham Brahma Asmi. So this word, Asadva idamagre asi tato vai sajjayata. Swayam kurutaha. Tadatmanam swayam kurutaha. So it is, see, how do I understand this in my own self? Very simple. In my sleep state, I am Atma. In that Atma, from that Atma only, this whole world of waking is coming. As from the world point of view, when I see it, I can say Atma is the creator. That is what it means. Atma, from Atma, the world comes, again goes back to Atma. Next verse, the second verse of the Anuvaka says, having tasted that Atma, one realizes the bliss in one's own heart. This is what I said. There is only one joy which is called as Swarupa Ananda. The moment you are with your own real self, and if a teacher is able to explain to you the intrinsic nature of that self to you as Atma, as Brahman, then you have fulfilled the goal of life. There is nothing in the world compared to the bliss of Atma. That is what is meant in the second verse of the seventh Anuvaka. Then the third verse of the seventh Anuvaka, it says a description of this pure self. Well, how does it say this? It says that this is, first of all, it says it is invisible. It is not visible to my sense organs. I cannot perceive with my sense organs. Atma doesn't have a form. It cannot be seen. Atma doesn't have any sound. It cannot be heard. Atma cannot be touched. It doesn't have any smell. A rupam, a gandham, that none of the sense organs can perceive. It is inexplicable. Words can only explain what my mind can perceive and what my sense organs can perceive. It is unsupported. Everything is supported by Atma, but Atma by itself is not supported by anything else. Last week I was telling you that there is no second consciousness which supports the first consciousness. So if you know such an Atma or a Brahman, then you will be free from fear. See how logically the Upanishad explains to you how to become fearless in life. The only way is to understand this Atma, non-dual Atma. Non-dual means what? From that Atma only the whole world is coming. The world is an appearance. It is a superimposition on the Atma. Atma is the substratum. Atma is the adhishtanam. Therefore, I can safely say I am in the binary format. Binary format means what? There is only Sakshi and Sakshyam. There is nothing called as Jiva Jagat Ishvara format. Jiva Jagat Ishvara format is a Ajnani's format. Ajnani means he is an ignorant person. He thinks there is a God who created this world. I have to pray to him and so on, so on, so on. You know, I am born in the world. I will die from the world. All that is Jiva Jagat Ishvara format. That is an Ajnani's format. Initially, Bhagavad Gita teaches you how to slowly come out from that format of triangular format, Jiva Jagat Ishvara format. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhakti Yoga is there. That is the end of the Jiva Jagat Ishvara format. After that, the 13th chapter, the 14th chapter, the 15th chapter, 3 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are only talking about this Sakshi and Sakshyam, Kshetram and Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti, Jnanam and Jneyam. This is what is called as binary format. There is only one pure existence. See, Vedanta is difficult initially to understand the different concepts. The moment you study a few Upanishads, your concepts will slowly getting formulated in your mind. All of you who are listening to this talk, Each one of you will have in his or her own mind the concept of Atma building up slowly. That is the only purpose of the study of Upanishads. If you are attending it for the first time, doesn't matter. Your day has started to build the concept of Atma, not outside, not anywhere else. It is in your own mind, these concepts are slowly building up. A day will come when the concept becomes a reality for you, not for anybody else. It is, see, this whole study is a study for my real satisfaction, to know my own nature. Once you have accepted that nature as yourself, then there is total bliss. There is no sorrow in the world which can touch you. This is a very interesting portion. Anuprashna, a question from student comes. Is there Brahman at all, which you are describing so much in the Upanishad? Brahma vidapnoti param tadesham yuktam satyam jnanam anantam. All the descriptions you gave me, everything is very clear to me. The nature of Brahman is satyam, jnanam, anantam. Yes, it's very, very clear. But tell me something. Really, is this Brahman existing or not? It is not available for jnanam, karma, or vyavahara. I can't transact with that Brahman. In the world, if I know something is there, I can go and feel it, experience it. If there is Himalayas, I can go and see the Himalayas. If there is London, a city called London, I can go and see it. I can experience London. Is there anything called a Brahman? Can I go and see it? No. So if I can't see anything, if I can't hear, if I can't touch that Brahman, what is the proof of the existence of Brahman? One question. We'll come to the answers later. Second question. I mean, these are all Shankaracharya's analysis. Huh? Does a wise attain Brahman after death? Videha mukti. After the world, after that body is dropped, does he attain that Brahman? One question. Second question, corollary. Does the ignorant attain Brahman after death? See, if the wise man itself doesn't attain Brahman, can an ignorant man attain Brahman? What are the answers to these questions? There are 7 reasons to show the existence of a higher reality called Brahman. See, again in Mandukya Upanishad, right in the beginning itself, Shankaracharya does in the introduction itself, he writes a prayer, and he writes two prayers right in the beginning. They are called as Mangala Shlokas. And what does Shankaracharya say in those 2 Mangala Shlokas? I just want to bring that point to you, because in the first Mangala Shloka, Shankaracharya says that Brahman, that Nirguna Brahman, can you help me to complete my study of Upanishads? First prayer. The second prayer is, can you bless me to get this knowledge and become free? So in both these shlokas of introduction shlokas, Shankaracharya brings out that point that there is existence of that Brahman. There is something called as God. There is something called as reality. And my small mind cannot reach that without the help of Shastra. Suppose you want to go to London, you take a plane to fly. If I want to reach that pure Atma, I have to take the help of a plane called as Brahma Vidya, Upanishads. You may try everything else. You may do japa, you can go to pilgrimages, you can do hatha yoga, you can do samadhi yoga, you can do hundreds of other things. Everything is a preparation for your mind, to make your mind pure. But you have to come to a guru. You have to come to a teacher who can explain the Upanishads to you. Because this is the vehicle to reach your true nature of Atma and to satisfy your goal of life, which is called as fulfillment in life. You have to use the Shastra. Shastra is Upanishads. This Upanishad directly does not give you moksha. Upanishads produces a jnana. It produces a knowledge. That knowledge is extremely powerful. That knowledge gives you the ability to drop your identification with the body and mind. The moment you drop the identification of body and mind, there is nothing else which will prevent you from accepting the knowledge of the Shastra as the truth. Nimitta karanatvad. I'm going one by one now. That Brahman is supposed to be the intelligent cause or the karanam for all my experiences, from birth to death. So, unless there is a cause, there cannot be an effect. Unless there is a sakshi, unless there is a consciousness principle, I cannot have experiences in life. Therefore, Brahman exists. What is the Sanskrit word for that? Nimitta karanatvad. Second reason, Jiva Rupena Vartamanatva. This is another beautiful example. Initially, when you study the Upanishads, you don't understand this easily. But when you go into advanced study of the Upanishads, it becomes very easy. We are talking about this Brahman, we are talking about this Atma. What Shankaracharya says is, this Brahman, this Atma itself is appearing as this Jiva. Manifest condition. With the body, mind, it is manifesting. Again, it goes to unmanifested sleep. And then you get into your own Swarupa. So the three states, waking, dream, sleep, belongs to whom? Right now, for an Ajnani, for an ignorant person, he thinks, I am this body, therefore I am going through these states. What happens when you come to Upanishad and study that you are not the body, which I explained to you in the first 20 minutes of today? It is that pure Atma itself, which is only appearing and disappearing in consciousness. So, the same pure Atma becomes the waker, dreamer, sleeper. In the dream, you will never accept that there is a waker. Only after getting up, you'll say, oh, the dream was nothing else but my own mind. Similarly, this whole waking world and the waker, in the waking state, you will never accept it. But once you have woken up to Atma level, a higher level, you will say, oh, what I thought I was a mother, father, brother, sister, those are all the lower nature. It is my own nature, but lower nature. Like the dream is a lower nature compared to the waker's body. Similarly, the waker's body and mind is a lower nature compared to the Atma, which is higher nature of myself only. The Upanishad is only talking to me about me, my own real nature. So the second reason is what? Jiva Rupena Vartamanatva. Vartamanatva means what? Right now, that pure Atma is listening to this talk as a student of Upanishads. When I drop this waker's body as my true self, right now I can claim I am Atma. Each one of us, it is an internal cognitive intellectual process. By the study of Upanishads, it is possible to change this misconception and accept I am the pure Jagat Rupena Vartatman. This is the third reason. These are all Shankaracharya's reason to say there is God. Brahman you can substitute by the word God. Does God exist or not? God exists because he is Nimitta Karanam. It's the cause of the universe. God exists because Jiva Rupena Vartatmanatva. God is nothing else but me, the Jiva, in this lower form. Jagat Rupena Vartamanatva. What this whole world is nothing but God in a different form. Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 10 and chapter number 11. The whole universe is in me. Nothing is there in me. Chapter 9, verse 4 and 5. Mastani sarva bhutani, achamastani bhutani. How do I understand these verses of Bhagavad Gita, which are so tricky? When I was doing Bhagavad Gita, I never understood that. The only way to understand is there are two levels of phenomena, existence phenomena. One is lower level, another is higher level, like the dream and the waker. Similarly, waker and Atma, they are two different levels. Atma is the natural, original self. And this waker is an artificial, incidental self. No. How do you say that that is my natural self and this is the incidental self? Why not that be an incidental self and this be natural self? If you ask that question, there are some people, this is how bhashyams are written. In Shankaracharya's bhashyam, you will get such types of objections. There are different answers to that. If you want the answers, I'll explain later. But anyway, let me proceed. Jagat Rupena Vartamanatvat. This whole world is an appearance of that reality. So you have to, here the basic assumption is what? Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that Brahman. I am, what about the waker me? The dreamer me, the sleeper me, that waker, dreamer, sleeper is my incidental nature as per the law of prarabdha karma, a jiva is supposed to have these three natures, come into this world of transactions, enjoy some sukham, undergo some sorrow, and then move on to the next body. So the study of Upanishad not only describes to be my real nature, that is one goal of Veda. The second goal of Veda is what? It helps me to understand the world in which I find myself. Okay? I mean, these are all extremely deep topics. Today, my talk has been very, very deep in terms of content, but I couldn't help it because I wanted to drive uh, home that pure self, which is the essence of the second chapter. If I don't mention that essence, and if you're not able to realize that, then the purpose of study of Taittriya Upanishad is gone. So this talk on Taittriya Upanishad is extremely important. Listen to it again and again till you understand whatever I have said in this session. Sukruta Prasidatvat. It's a very easy thing. God has got many glories. The world is glorious. If there is glory in the world, you see, if the heart is pumping for so many years without stopping, there must be a controller of that heart. If I am thinking continuously throughout my life, like the heart is pumping, my mind is producing thoughts after thoughts. Not for one day. Throughout my life, the mind is producing thoughts. Isn't there a controller of these thoughts, which is called as karma phala data? That karma phala data is what is mentioned as the fourth reason here. The glory of this world, the glory of this body and mind complex helps me to understand that there is a higher principle, which is the controller of the universe, controller of each jiva. Rasa rupena ananda rupena prasidatvat. See how beautiful Shankaracharya goes and gives these reasons. This is amazing. How is his mind? See, if somebody wants to, these are very, very deep topics. If you want to you go deeper and deeper in each of these topics, you can go. But ultimately, you should understand that there is some consciousness principle which is got all these attributes which I can perceive in the world. Rasa rupena, ananda rupena exists as a source of all happiness experienced by us. I told you there is Priya, Moda, Pramoda. Priya, Moda, Pramoda are three grades of happiness. Happiness is something I can't describe to you. It's like an emotion. I love you. How do I describe to you? Just saying I love you, that's it. There is nothing else I can do. So, similarly, this Ananda, if I am experiencing some joy in my life, there must be a treasure house of that joy. Somewhere, that treasure house of joy is the nature of Brahman, nature of Atma. That is the source of all the happiness enjoyed by all the human beings in this world. Shariram chesha darsanat. This is what I said earlier also. If the heart is pumping blood throughout my life, there must be a cause for the active body. Digestion goes without me deliberately telling the body, come on, digest my food. In the next 1 hour, I want to eat again. I want to be thirsty. I want to drink a Coke again after 2 hours. No, it is automatic. Next reason, bhaya, abhaya, karanatvat. The cause of fear and the cause of fearlessness, both are from Brahman only. When there is fear, there is a thought. That thought is existing where? Who is illuminating that thought of fear in your mind? Brahman. When there is fearlessness, I don't have any fear. Who is illuminating that thought? Brahman. So these are the reasons to show the higher existence of a higher principle. This higher principle is not outside me. It is not inside me. If it is not outside, if it is not inside, what is it then? That Brahman is me, myself, my own self. I will stop here with this slide and we'll continue this. It's been a very, very intense session today. And it's a brilliant exposition to what we are supposed to study in Taittriya Upanishad, which is Atma or Brahman. And it is the glory of Shankaracharya's mind, which can give us the logic behind the Shastra. And each one of us has to use the words of the Upanishads and also follow the reasoning behind these logical statements. There is reasoning. Once you marry the fact with reason, the intellect has a capacity to absorb that. A fact without reasoning does not give the power of the intellect. Only reasoning without a fact being stated, again, the intellect doesn't have the power. Together, the fact and the reasoning, once it is crystallized in my own mind, that is the what gives you the strength to absorb the highest, what the Upanishads are telling me to discover in my own heart. Thank you. We will continue this next week. I will have maybe 1 or 2 sessions just to close this third chapter. And then we will, I just have only one small portion, the answer 2 of this, and then I'll be going to the third chapter, which has 10 anuvakas. I think I'll be able to complete it next session. And later on, I will then slowly go into the, after one more session, I will probably go to the Shankara Bhashyam. Just a glimpse of Shankara Bhashyam, maybe I'll take 3 sessions, 2 or 3 sessions, just to give you a glimpse so that you can then study the 800 pages notes of Shankara Bhashyam on chapter 2 and chapter 3. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So there are no questions on the chat box. Oh, Vishal has a few questions. So, Vishal, you can just unmute and then ask the question. Let's see. Shanmugam is unmuting everybody. Then you can on and then let us know. Okay.
Yes.
Vishal, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I thank you, sir. I understand existence versus appearance very well, sir. Thank you so much. My specific question is with regards to Maya. Now, what do we say Maya? Is it a potentiality within the Brahma? Is it a seed within the Brahma? Is it an energy within the Brahma? Little bit confusion is there in my mind with regards to what should we or what word should we or what think about Maya? How is this Maya coming in the middle of that?
Okay,
I
good.
hope you understand my question. I hope you understand my question.
No, it's a very natural question. If you have not understood Maya, is very, very natural. That means you have understood Maya. Maya cannot be understood. It is not an intellect which can understand the Shakti of Maya. See, Maya is a power. It belongs to Brahman. It belongs to the higher concept of my own nature. If I ask you, can you describe to me that you have a thinking capacity, you have a speaking capacity, you have a power to speak, you have a power to think, you have a power to sing, you have a power. What are all these powers? All these powers put together in the universe is called as Maya. It is not only one individual body having a speaking power, digesting power, circulating power, talking power, singing power, thinking power.
So it is inherent. It is an inherent power within the Brahma.
Exactly. It is a power which exists within Brahman. The moment you say Aham Brahma Asmi, and you acknowledge that Brahman is my real nature,
right?
Then the second point you should also say is, I have a Maya Shakti. Only if you say this, you will be in touch with that reality. Otherwise, you are still in the Jiva Swarupam.
Right.
That is why Shankaracharya very beautifully says that unless until you understand the Mahavakyam, Tattvamasi is the real fact of life, real nature. It is explaining to me my own real nature. Unless you do that Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana, you see, each mind has to go through the Mahavakya analysis in the way the Upanishad wants you to do it.
Right.
That is the ultimate exercise which every seeker has to do to reach that condition called as moksha. If you don't do that, you will never understand moksha. You will never understand what is this freedom I'm talking about. See,
right.
The freedom, you see, all this is explaining to you that Maya Shakti. Between my natural self, which is what I am, and the unnatural, incidental waker self, which I am experiencing,
right,
gap is called as Maya.
Right. Right, sir.
Okay.
So second thing, I just want my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, this Maya, there is one verse in the Vivek Chudamani.
Okay, sir.
And have you done Vivek Chudamani?
I will, so give me the paragraph. I will go through it, sir.
Okay, there is one verse which is called Sannapi Sannapi. There is one verse. I will try to locate that verse and give it to you if you're really interested. It tells you the definition of Maya.
So I'm really interested, sir.
Okay, so I will just write to me later on, or
I'll do that. I'll do that, sir.
I will give you that verse, because that explanation, that verse explanation, that is the perfect explanation of Maya.
Thank
that
you, sir.
explains fully. The Vivek Chodamani Shankaracharya has written that verse, and
Yes,
it defines Maya. It tells you what is Maya.
fantastic, sir.
Okay, so that's the second. You
Yes.
have another question.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to correct me, my understanding. So in the first procedure, we go from the outside to the inside by the neti neti method, saying that we are not the five koshas, we are not the three bodies, we are not the three avasthas. And once we claim ourselves, then we realize that we are actually everything.
We are actually everything.
Yes, that means we were
Yes,
that
yes.
we are actually
Correct.
everything. What we had
Yes.
done neti neti also, we were that also. We are
Correct.
the mind, we
Yes.
are the body.
Yes,
Because
that is what Shankaracharya says, that you are that Brahman. Don't think that Brahman is somewhere sitting in heaven and I have to go and reset and all that. No. Right now, this second, say to yourself, I am that substratum.
because the confusion was that sometimes we say we are not this, we are not this, we are not this, and then finally we say we are this actually, we are this actually. So there are two procedures. Therefore, the first procedure is to claim yourself. While claiming, we go from the outside to the inside and claim the Brahma, which means we go from the body to the mind and to that place which is behind all these things. Like we said, behind the panch kosha, teen avastha, and teen shariram.
Correct.
Once we claim ourselves, then we realize that in fact everything and everywhere there is only Brahma.
That's correct. You understood clearly. So the step is you go from outside first. That is step number one.
Yes, sir.
That means you say neti, 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 neti.
Yes, sir.
After you come to the Anandamaya Kosha and you have done the neti in Anandamaya Kosha or the sleep state,
yes, sir.
Then bring the knowledge of Mayeva Sakalam Jatam. That means the 19th verse of Kaivalya Upanishad or second chapter Taittriya Upanishad. Brahma Vida Apnoti Param. That Param word is very important. I am reaching that Param self. So when you have dropped the neti neti,
yes, sir.
The next step is not neti neti. It is Aham Brahma Asmi. It is the knowledge, jnanam, which is coming from the Veda. Aham Brahmasmi has to be the end of your spiritual progress, or when you go deep within in your own mind, you stop at neti neti and then you use Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma, all this Mahavakyam you use at that point.
Understood. Love you, sir. Perfect. Understood.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is, I did not understand the proof of Atman. Kindly explain in simple terms. See, whenever you say Atman and you are searching for a proof, what the Upanishad says is the fact that the one who is searching is the Atman. The seeker is the sought. Who is seeking this? Who wants to know about this Atma? It is the mind. The mind is saying, I don't understand, I understand. I understand, I don't understand. It is a mind. How do you get rid of this mind is the question. I have to negate the mind, which is asking this question about the proof for Atma. Atma is existing without a proof. Whether your intellect is understanding that there is Atma or doesn't accept the proof of Atma, Atma is still there. It is not waiting for that you to confirm, yes, 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 I am there. No. Atma is always there. See, the only proof which the Upanishad says is your own mind. And your own mind has to see this proof. How does it see the proof? In the waking state, close your mind, close your eyes and ask this question. In my sleep state, there was no mind. I didn't experience the mind. I didn't experience the body. Isn't that my experience in the sleep state? Yes. Okay. Without the body and without the mind, I have an experience of something. Each one of us can try to explain this experience in sleep, but I give you a guarantee you cannot explain. So there is something which I cannot explain. You can say I didn't experience anything, but that is not an experience. It's an experience of nothing. So what Upanishad says is that there is some cause. There is some cause which we are now telling you as Atma. See, for Ajnani, for an ignorant person, the Upanishad says, you're seeing this world, there must be some cause. You don't see the world in your sleep state, there must be some cause. What is that cause which is making you see the world, experience the world? What is the cause which resolves this world and it keeps you as the in a resolved condition? What is that? There is something. You see, even for a simple car, there is a manufacturer. For the whole world, which we see with our eyes, with so many powers in it, will there not be a proof that there is some creator? The Upanishad says Atma is the creator. That is the beauty of this whole God principle. Atma is the God. Atma means what? See, God cannot be shown to you to be perceived by your sense organs because it is not an object. If there was an object, then you can say, yes, 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 I can show it to you. I can describe it to you. You can conceptualize and all that. But Atma happens to be your nature. You see, nature means what? Nature means it is my natural self. What is my natural self? My natural self is like my natural health. When I'm in my natural health, I never complain. So when I'm in my natural state, which is called as Atma, I never complain. I feel the world is very joyful and so on. The unnatural state is what is called as Anatma. The proof for that is what is given in those reasons. That is meant for, slightly, just to come to this level. But when you take it at a higher level, try to understand the reasoning which I gave you just now. Okay, you have said that you have understood. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah, Shama, go ahead.
Hari Om, Shikharji. What an incredible, beautiful class. And if I wanted to, I could say, Shikharji, you've said everything. Now I can safely leave all the classes, but I will not. because it's the sheer joy of listening to that over and over again. So yeah, today you've really done a remarkable job. And you know that very classic thing, no, physician, heal thyself, you know, which of course I looked it up and nobody seems to really give the precise meaning of why that was described. It's there in Bible, Luke, in Bible, where it said, physician, heal thyself. And it's made ridiculous comments on that. So, but then the answer is, how does the physician heal thyself? And today I've understood, being a physician, today first time I realized that as to how important it is for the physician to be in a good place, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So heal thyself. So that is why it was said. But how shall the physician heal oneself? Only by knowing oneself. So that again has been written in the times of Socrates, know thyself, which
Correct.
again the Western philosophers could not manage to do. And I was reading on Wikipedia where it actually describes that finally it comes down that around the 19th century, the Western world was suddenly woken up because they were beginning to hear about the Upanishadic knowledge, you know, and they write Tattvamasi, you know. So that then filtered into the Western world and there was a glimmer of hope. But coming back to the class itself, there is no doubt that once you go through this Panchakoshas, you know, not this, not this, not that, and then you finally actually, and I think the stumbling block is the Manamaya Kosha, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the so-called intellect, what we think, because it is very much into conventional thinking. Unless you hear the Jnanam of Mother Shruti, there's no scope that you can understand anything, isn't it? You
Absolutely
cannot exit.
right. Yes.
Yeah, you cannot exit the mind part of it.
That
because
is the
ego,
doctor. See, that is the doctor for us.
that is true. That is the doctor, Mother Shruti. And it is so, and what is interesting is where it is so much effort gone on to say, not this, not this, not that. And then suddenly, when you hear Mother Shruti saying, you are that, Tattvam Asi, you know, it just becomes such a natural self, as you said, you know.
Correct.
You're
That's right.
finally
Yes.
swastha. Swarupa Jnanam
Yeah,
is then you
Swarupa
find,
Sthitaha. That means you abide in yourself. Swastha.
and that is the swastha, and that's really the
Natural
ordinary.
health.
And that's the ordinary shabda as well in the
Yes.
in Hindi language, at least I know.
Yeah.
Swastha means are you well?
Correct.
Swastha. But
Yeah.
it literally means this. And anyone can safely say swastha only if you're completely in your spirit place, in your Atman place. So that's the my the Atma Ananda which I'm expressing in such a long, elaborate way. The other one was a very interesting one, which you said today about, as to how one way of really healing yourself is kind of forgiving.
Forgiving. Yes.
The interesting part is, and I've been through this fairly recently, this whole experience, I can confidently say you can't even forgive unless you first accept the lesson learned from Shruti Mother.
Yes.
Yeah. So I now know. So suppose I'm thinking of the other person who has possibly hurt me. Now imagine I'm saying possibly hurt me. I've already forgotten, I know you are in a sense, and then I was writing it. I know you are in a sense is not another, but me, the Atman alone. This person who has hurt me, I know is no other because it's me alone. How may I have any grudge? Can I have a grudge against my own self? No. So therefore, I don't have a grudge against you. If at all you have hurt only my koshas, if you at all I think you have hurt me, it's probably only at my kosha level, because I am not that. So you cannot hurt me. Also, I have learned, allowed myself to be hurt. I allowed myself to be hurt because I was in that kosha state the kartatva and bhokta self, you said, isn't it? If we
Yes.
are in the, then, so that is why I was hurt, because my ego was hurt, you know, that I thought I was doing this and you didn't recognize or whatever. I now know that I'm not. So all the suffering. So then once I reach here, it is so simple, so easy to forgive, as if nothing ever happened, isn't it? So, and then I can safely say, I love you as myself. I forgive. I forgive you, because there's nothing to be forgiven, isn't it?
Yeah,
In
sure.
analysis, if you
Yeah.
analyze in that fashion, the other person can only hurt you at a kosha level, can never truly hurt you, isn't it?
Yes, you're right.
So
I think
it is.
you have understood the hurt and guilt aspect very clearly. I can see
Yeah,
that from what
I
you have
love that
described.
part. You know, this is why I'm saying I'm so healed, and I can, because I was struggling with a few things in the recent times, and I feel, wow, that's perfect. I have no more illness. I have no dvesha or raga with anybody. The only caution I have to remember about the kosha, which I must remember the koshas, because I must know what my boundaries are, isn't it? Because otherwise you can be completely indiscriminate in how you can get involved
Yeah.
unnecessarily, isn't it?
Yes.
So I must have that boundary sense.
That's
So the
correct.
kosha needs to be recognized in a minimal kind of a way.
That's correct. Yes. See, all role play which you have in your normal life is all kosha only. It is
Yeah.
it's a dress you're wearing for a particular a situation. That's all. You know, a sportsman will wear a sports dress.
So
A
that's
yoga
all.
person will wear a yoga dress. A person going to a wedding will wear a wedding dress. So similarly, we wear different dresses according to different roles we play. Leave it at that. See, you say it was a role I played at that particular point of time, and I will forget it. That's all. The
Wonderful.
moment you say that see, this hurt and guilt is an extremely strong emotion which can disturb every one of us.
Absolutely.
In 9 out of 10 complaints which I receive about from the general public who want to get some solace in life is hurt and guilt, hurt and guilt, hurt and guilt.
Yeah.
Many, out of 10 people who come to me, 9 have got this problem of either hurt or guilt. And they don't know how to come out of it. You see, and Vedanta has a simple way to come out of it, but you have to follow it very, very logically. And this requires a sharp mind to see. As you go deeper and deeper into the study of your mind and come to the level of ignorance, your mind has to be extremely sharp and say that is where I have got ignorance. And ignorance is not anywhere outside, but it's all in my mind. The moment the darkness of ignorance goes away, the natural light of Atma shines because it is Swayam Jyoti. You see, and anyway, I'm very happy you have paraphrased it and you have understood very clearly.
And you can finally drop that ego, isn't it? That ego I, that small I, which is actually dominates your life.
Correct,
so you can finally drop it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Shikhar.
Thank you, Shama. There's one question here. How many soulmates? Okay, where does the dream come from? If you want to study dream, you have to study Mandukya Upanishad. It is a brilliant Upanishad, and I don't know when I'm going to cover it, either after Taittriya or after, I'm thinking of taking Kathopanishad after Taittriya Upanishad and then take Mandukya. See, we all have got 3 states of our mind. Okay, you always remember waking, dream, sleep is not the state of Atma. Atma is the natural state of ours. First thing to understand about dream. What you should understand, what is my natural state? In my natural state, there is no dream, no waking, no sleep. I repeat, in my natural state of Atma, there is no dream, no sleep, no waking. It is my nature, Sarupa Avastha. Now, what is waking? Let us try to understand and answer that first. Waking is a state where my sense organs are functioning, the mind is functioning, and Atma is illumining. Atma is there in all the states as the illuminator of all my experiences. In the waking state, the sense organs are interacting with the sense objects in the external world. Bhautika Prapancha. The world consisting of 5 elements, gross elements. In the waking state, the mind, which is receiving the impulses of the world, has got 2 functions. One function is, it is recording all experiences. Video cassette player. It is recording. There are some impressions which are very deep. Some impressions which are at the conscious level, they are forgotten. What did I eat 7 days ago, 1 month ago? Forgotten. What did I do on a particular day 1 month ago? Forgotten. That is at a conscious level, it's gone. There are some impressions which are recorded by the mind, not by Atma. Atma is only the light, the spiritual light, which has the capacity to illumine experiences of the sense organs with the mind. The external light, the sunlight, doesn't have that capacity. Sunlight is an external source of light for the world, worldly transactions. Now, that is the waking state. Next state is dream state. In the dream state, this mind has a capacity. What is the capacity of the mind? It will close the doors of sense organs. Shut. The moment you lie in the bed, what happens? The mind gets a signal, shut all the 5 sense organs. Atma is still there, illuminating. Mind is still there, but sense organs are closed. In this condition of the mind, the law of prarabdha karma, which rules the waking state, that law states that there are some karma phalams which are exhausted in the dream. In the dream state, what happens? It is the same mind which has taken the impressions as a VCP, video cassette player. Now whatever has been recorded is being played back. The VCR, which was there in the waking state as a recorder, is being played back. It is being played back when the sense organs are shut. It is being played back to your own, that jiva, which is in this body, in this mind, which is the experiencer. which has taken birth to with this particular body. So the dream is nothing but it is a condition of the exhaustion of some prarabdha karma which can be exhausted by playing back by the mind of some impressions. These impressions can be of previous janma also. It can be of the current janma, it can be a previous janma. This is the law of karma. The law of karma doesn't say that all your impressions will get exhausted in this particular janma. No. There are one karma can be exhausted in 7 janmas. It's possible. Okay, so our waking state is only an exhaustion of the punya papa karma. What is punyam and papam? It is nothing else but the thoughts in my mind. The thoughts in my mind, what is the cause of that thoughts of the mind in the waking state? It is the punyam and papam which is getting fructified. How does it get fructified? When a sense object is in front of me. When my daughter is in front of me, I get certain punyam. When my enemy is in front of me, my papam is getting exhausted. So what happens in the dream state is, it is a condition of your own mind for the exhaustion of prarabdha karma, which are not so strong. And it is only a condition of the mind. Understand that. If you understood that, that is one part of the question. The second part of the question, which a natural person who is in the Vedanta course, he should ask is, who is illumining this dream? In what light do I experience this dream? In Taittriya Upanishad, in Swayam Jyoti Brahmana, in the chapter 4 of that Upanishad, this brilliant question is answered. Who illumines my dream state? The Acharya Yajnavalkya explains to the student King Janaka there and says, the light of Atma is illumining your mind. It is the pure spiritual light which illumines the mind. Does that pure self illumine the mind in the waking state also? Yes, yes, it is the same light. But you are not aware of it. But in the dream, you can become aware of it, because in the dream, there is no other light. That light is Atma. And then King Janaka says, thank you. I give you my whole kingdom and myself to you, because now I understood Atma. Very clearly I understood that light of consciousness is Atma. That light never changes. The body, mind keeps on coming, going in the 3 states. And therefore, the 3 states is not me, but the light which is illumining, which is the light called Chaitanyam. And that light doesn't have any other source. It is the source of the whole universe. Like the sun is the center, it can illumine the entire cosmos. The spiritual light in this body-mind complex is the center, the core of the entire universe. If I come to know that light is my real nature, what a knowledge, what type of Brahma Vidya is this, and what glory belongs to this Brahma Vidya? That is what is the essence behind your question. Hope you have understood that. Okay. Then the next is, how my soul, Atman, is connected to the other soul. Okay. See, the moment you understand that there is one Advaita principle, again I repeat, Advaita means it is non-dual. Non-dual means it is not two. So when it is not two, when the soul called as Atma is not two, it is only one. How is it connected to the other souls? When you say other souls, what you actually mean is not other soul. What you mean by other soul is only ahamkara, the jivas. The real nature of Atma is the soul, the real higher soul. When you say other souls, it means you're talking about other jivas. All jivas are in one Atma. That is the Advaita principle. Sankhya, another philosophy, they say that there is Atma connected with each body. Okay? There is Atma connected with each body. That is Sankhya. So don't fall into the Sankhya system. Assume and try to understand there is only one Atma. When I say other souls, actually the other souls terminology is only used by Ajnanis. Ajnani means what? If you accept there is one Atma, you are a Jnani. When you say other souls, you are referring to their body. Okay? Okay, if I hope I have explained to you. In case you're not clear, you can ask me, you can unmute and ask the question. Both the previous question and the next question, you have not put your names there, so I can't say who it was. So if you want to again ask me something related to my answer, you have to unmute and ask.
Sir, I'm Vishal. I'd like to ask one more question, sir.
Yeah.
So in the Bhagavad Gita, at some paragraphs, Krishna clearly talks about the Brahman and oneness, unity, Advait. But there are certain other chapters and paragraphs where he talks about Purush and Prakriti, like a duality kind of a thing. So sometimes while reading the Bhagavad Gita, I get a little confused because there are a lot of things about oneness also, but there are certain paragraphs which talk about duality also a little bit. That Purush that you spoke about Samya, that other one, the Dvait Vedant kind of concepts. I'm a little confused on those where the Purush and Prakriti come in. How is that resolved with oneness?
Okay. See, basically, you need to go through the 13th chapter one more time. Okay. So, Bhagavad Gita has got two types of knowledge. One type of knowledge is Dvaitam. The second type of knowledge is Advaitam. Advaitam is taught in the second chapter, verse number 12 to verse number 30 or 25. The predominantly 12 to 25 is the main section. Najayate, Mriyate, Vakadache, and all those verses. That is one portion of the Bhagavad Gita where it talks about Advaitam Atma. It was never born. It will never die. Why are you worried, O Arjuna? These are the type of lessons which Krishna is teaching right in the second chapter. Then in the 13th chapter is where he talks about Prakriti and Purusha. There he says that Prakriti and Purusha, for an Ajnani, for an ignorant person, they are two. Prakriti is separate, Purusha is separate. Prakriti is matter, Purusha is the spirit. And then he describes Kshetram and Kshetrajna. Kshetram is the matter, Kshetrajna is the consciousness, Purusha principle. In the same chapter, in the beginning, he says there are two, Prakriti, Purusha. Towards the end of the chapter, if you see, in the 13th chapter itself, he will say that Purusha is the only thing which exists. And Prakriti is dependent on Purusha. Reflection is dependent on the original face. If the original face is not there, there's no reflection. So the entire waking world, dream world, sleep world, all this is all reflection only. But this is all Prakriti. Anatma is Prakriti. So your understanding is only 50% of the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. You need to revise the Gita again and understand which are the verses which are talking about Advaita. For advanced students, I always give this exercise. I tell them, if you want to study Bhagavad Gita, if you have already studied Bhagavad Gita, it doesn't matter. Go through, the Bhagavad Gita sessions which I have in my talks, which I have recorded. Master Gita, Master Life, those type of sessions. See, what you have to understand from the Gita is, which portion is talking about Advaita? Majority of Gita is written out of the 701 verses. 90% of the verses are all Dvaita. There are very few verses which are discussing about Nirguna Avastha. Very few verses. Mastani, Sarvabhutani, Nachamastani, these are the verses. Chapter 6 has got some verses. Chapter 13 has got some verses. And you have to understand that all the time, Prakriti and Purusha are not different. It is the same. It's like the two sides of the coin. Like Bharat is just now put in the chat box. What he says is, Purusha is like the gold. Prakriti is like the ornament.
So when Krishna is saying, sir, that you surrender to me, do this to me, he's actually talking about his Nirgun self, right? He's not talking about his...
No. See, again, you're getting confused. See, you cannot surrender to my Nirgun self because it's Nirgunam. It cannot, there is no surrender possible. Krishna is saying, as Krishna, the Bhagavan, who's the controller of this whole universe, which is called as Jagat, you surrender to me. First step is surrender to the Saguna Ishvara.
The Ishvara, yes.
Yes, okay. Saguna Ishvara, you surrender. Then you come and study Veda. And in the Veda, it says that Ishvara has got another Swarupam, which is called Nirguna Swarupa. You accept the Veda when it tells you that Ishvara is one facet of the same Ishvara in another form. And that is Nirguna Swarupa. Same, if you understand that God has got two forms, formed God, which is the world of Panchabhutas, and formless God, which is pure Nirguna Brahman. Same is my case also. Vishal is not the ultimate name of the essence of Vishal. Vishal is only a name given to a body to conduct interactions in the world as a father, as a mother, as a son, as a son, as a brother, as a, so many things. It's just a name. In Veda only you come to understand that this is not my nature. My nature is Atma. Each one of you who is listening to this talk today, what is your nature? Atma. Your nature, my nature, everybody's nature is only Atma. There is only one Atma, but there are many bodies. There is one original face. The mirrors are millions of mirrors. Okay. So that is why you are, just to go a little bit deeper into the study of Bhagavad Gita.
I will do that. I will do that. Chapter 13, sir. Thank you, sir.
Chapter 13, especially chapter 13, if you have the Shankara Bhashyam, That is nothing like it. I mean, that is the highest. Okay, Kathopanishad is what Bharat wants first, and then Mandukya Upanishad. Okay, let's see. I don't know. It depends on the time.
I'm just expressing a preference.
No problem.
Shikiji, so-
Yeah. I have the notes ready for Kathopanishad, which I want to take. The whole notes of Kathopanishad for each and every verse is ready. So, of course, I'm more ready for Kathopanishad. Whereas Mandukya, I am just now started listening to Shankara Bhashyam of Mandukya Upanishad. I'm still a long way. But anyway,
May I ask a quick question?
Go ahead, Bharat. Yeah.
It's not, well, actually, it's more of an observation, two observations. The first one is that what we just studied, by the way, another brilliant lecture. I thought the first 20 minutes were excellent. The Anuvakya number 6, the last one about he desired, I shall become many, be born, everything else. As an extension of that, is it the case that, like, what's being pointed out is the duality of opposites, but then there's also one more duality, which is just like Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti is the dualities which are listed here, things like knowledge, ignorance, truth, false, but the ultimate duality is between those dualities listed and the witness consciousness itself, and thereby showing that even all these dualities in this verse are all appearances.
Yeah, correct. You're right. So the all duality, if you want to put it in one word, it is called as Maya Shakti.
Exactly.
So everything. You see, initially I had a difficulty in trying to understand God in the waking state itself as some object. No, but that's wrong. So the mind, when it listens to Bhagavad Gita, when our mind listens to all these Upanishadic lectures, it takes time for us to absorb the real essence of the Upanishads. So to answer your question, yes, what you're thinking is absolutely right. Sakshi is the ultimate reality. Everything else is duality.
I just want to make a personal comment that in terms of God, so again, I have been an atheist all my life, and never could quite understand devotion or prayer or anything. However, through Vedanta, trying to understand the Vedantic philosophies, metaphysics, Nirguna Brahman, and especially that analysis of Tattvamasi, it kind of made me appreciate God from the Nirguna Brahman point of view back into transactional reality, and admitting that to take everything that's happening in the universe, all the laws of physics, laws of society, laws of people, and seeing that as a controlled intelligence, and that's Ishvara, and for that we have to be grateful. So
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like coming back to appreciating God, not by saying there is a God and we pray, but from the other end, from the Nirguna aspect, and admitting that Nirguna aspect, we can only appreciate that reality as Saguna Brahman.
Sure.
It's the same.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Bharat. Your analysis and your experiences are very similar to what one hears of how Swami Chinmayananda was an atheist before he went to Rishikesh and Uttarakashi to understand Vedanta.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an atheist. Initially during his early 20s, and before he came to Vedanta, he was an atheist. He never believed in God, and he said, okay, I'm going to come out into the world and I'm going to expose all the Swamijis who are, in the how they are fooling the world and all that. He said, okay, let me go to Uttarakanshi, Himalayas, and then let me expose all of them. That was his motive. But then the whole thing changed for him when he listened to Vedanta. And I've heard several stories and experiences of atheists who ultimately started believing in Vedanta because Vedanta appeals to them much more because it is talking about nirguna aspect of this God.
Indeed.
It is what actually is there in their mind. You see, they are not able to say it or express it because nobody has taught them that there is a God which is formless. See, they are experiencing something. The atheists are experiencing something, but they are not able to express it, and they themselves, and the world calls them atheists because they are not able to express it. What they're experiencing as a real truth.
Yeah, it's not like a hardcore atheist, materialist, realist.
Yes.
They are just failing to express. Very, very good, insightful point. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. Shanta, you've been waiting for a long time. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm really sorry it's already late and I'm still waiting to ask a question. Yeah. The thing was, I was trying to actually expand on one of the questions which was asked, and that was about, not the dream and the mind, but of that Advaitam and the one Atma. So now I can understand there is one Atma, okay, which is fine, or which I'm trying to get to that understanding. But then we have got a mind which is enlightened by the Atma and acts as a controller, or you can say the chalak of this Vahan called body. Okay. Now, we know the body is made out of this Panchikarna principle, right? We learned it in
Tattva Bodha.
Tattva Bodha. So when we look at the world, this world, everything which is living, whether it's plants or animals or birds or insects or ourselves, they are made of this Panchikarna principle. Because they have to have that sentient element, right? Because
Yes,
until
that's
unless
correct.
that element is there, you can't be having that, the connection with the Atma, or the
That's
Atma cannot shine
yes,
into it, or
yes,
Atma might shine on everything, but it doesn't become sentient like a table or a chair.
yeah.
So when we look at things which are not sentient, like, or rather active, like the, say, earth, in the sense of the mud itself, or the stone, or the mountain itself. Um, so how is that then existing? Because it has not come from Panchikarna for sure, because there is no, uh, although it might have all the 5 elements, but it doesn't have that mind in it. So what is that mind formation? Is it a different type of Panchikarna compared to the rest of the Stula body? Because I believe that even mountain is also a part of, is made up of these 5 bits. That is 5
Okay.
elements. So how is this different? The mind formation of the Panchikarna is different from the body. That is I think the question which I'm trying to get to, or trying to understand this difference. If you could
Okay.
help.
The first thing we should understand is that there is something called as gross element and there is something called as subtle element. So gross element is after Panchikarana.
Okay.
And the subtle element means before Panchikarana, before the actual process of mixing up of the 5 elements.
Yeah.
That aspect is called as before, and that is where the subtle mind comes from. The gross body comes from after Panchikarma. So
Okay.
there are two distinctly separate aspects of creation. One is after Panchikaranam, where you see mixture of the five elements coming together and forming this world, which is out of Tamoguna. And then there is Sattva Guna, which is a combination of the five elements before the Panchikara. The main thing you should remember is Prithvi is gross. It is only made up of the gross matter principle. Mind is made up of Sattva Guna. See, Prithvi is Tamo Guna. There are three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas.
Yeah.
In the five elements, there are three gunas. See how deep is this, our science, you know. It's like proton, neutron, and electron. That type of analysis is what you have to make in terms of the three gunas and the five elements. What Vedanta says is that the combination of the Sattva Guna of the five elements is this mind.
Oh.
The combination of the five elements of the Rajoguna is the prana.
Okay.
The combination of the Rajoguna of the combination of the Tamoguna is all this world what we are experiencing. So mind is a very, very subtle body which has the same principle like reflection of a mirror. That is why Shankaracharya compares our mind like a mirror. Mirror can reflect. Stone cannot reflect. Mirror can reflect. Mirror is a subtle, it's a different material. Similarly, gross body cannot reflect anything, but mind can reflect the consciousness. Mind reflects the consciousness. It has the ability to borrow consciousness. That is what Vedanta says. So your question is that how come something is sentient, something is insentient, whereas both are material? The table or a desk, it doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have subtle body. Human beings, from an ant to an elephant, insect, a small insect, running here and there, tiny, you can't even see it with your eyes. That has got a tiny mind with a tiny reflection of that consciousness. Without that reflection is a sentiency in the ant. That reflection is a sentiency in the human being. That reflection is a sentiency in an elephant. So, reflection of consciousness in the mind is called as sentience.
Yes. But my thing is, now when you say that all the sattva gunas form the mind and the rajaguna form the prana, so where now is it not the same? The sattva guna, you mean it is not made of five elements?
Tattva Guna is belongs to the five elements only. See, the ultimately the top portion is Prakriti, which is called as is a combination of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. That is how you have to start the ladder.
So it is like three ingredients, and then you
Three
start
ingredients,
mixing them.
correct.
Okay, okay. I get it now.
Yeah, it is the
Okay.
three threads, the three ingredients which form the pancha bhutas.
Then it makes the five elements. Okay,
Correct.
okay,
Then
okay.
it goes down and down and down the ladder.
Because I started going from down to up, so I'm thinking from 5
Yeah,
elements.
correct.
How can I get
now
only
I think now you
sattva
got it.
separately? Okay, yeah, it's top down. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, for yeah, Jacqueline.
Mr. Shekhar, I just want to ask, just now Bharat was talking about something which I cannot I mean, and then you relate it to someone who is also an atheist, and then you mentioned that he went to mountain and all those. Does it mean that after he went for all those and he also realized that it is Atma, and he came back, and that's why the all this happened?
Correct. You see, there is one person who was an atheist, who didn't believe in the Veda, on the rituals and all this God and all whatever is generally spoken. He went and then he learned the Veda, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita. And then he started preaching the Upanishads and started teaching the Upanishads as the truth.
Oh.
It's a complete transformation
Oh.
of an atheist to a person to say, yes, God exists, not only exists elsewhere in the heaven and all that, exists right now in the same body in which I am there.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, so that means the ritual where in the past, maybe he was very strong in ritual and all those, but
Yes,
then after that, he realized, I mean, it was transformed, and then it's like it's within us that it is happening, right? That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I was trying to read. Okay, appreciate.
Good. I'm glad you got it.
Yep.
Okay. Shama has written something, so I say the mind about Advaita and all that. Okay. Anybody else has a question? It's been a very long session, Q&A answer, question answer, 1 hour almost. I stopped at 7:30, now it's 8:30. It's thank you. I think we had a long session. We'll catch up next week. Thank you and good night.
thank you.
Hari
Thank you
Om.
very much.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.